guys, what's up? This is attorney Chloe Corbett, aka the Duchess of Justice. I am one half of the Defiant Lawyers. Welcome to our YouTube channel. I am a practicing attorney out of Dallas, Fort Worth. I mainly focus on civil rights, family law, and personal injury. I practice law and co-own a law firm with my dad and law partner, Augustus Corbett. You may have seen him a lot on this YouTube channel because we film every Saturday where we give you the tea, honey, on all of the trending legal topics that are trending for that week. But I am so excited to discuss this topic today. It is something that I am passionate about as a Black woman and as an attorney as well. And I'm going to be discussing the Crown Act that just passed the United States House of Representatives yesterday and is now being forwarded to the Senate. And what the Crown Act is, it stands for Creating a Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair Act. And it is legislation which seeks to end discrimination against natural hair at work and school. This is just so amazing, guys. Let me break this down to you, especially as a Black woman. Let me tell you, before we get more into the actual legislation that is pending and will be pending in the Senate, let me explain to you how important our hair is to us as Black women and members of the Black community. Our hair is everything. Our hair is literally our crown, as you can see today. I wore my hair in this style today for a reason, because I truly have learned to embrace my kinky coils, my tightly coiled hair. And I have learned that it is a crown, and it has empowered me in so many ways as I've embraced it. But look, Black women's hair has gone through so many transitions through the years. There is a beauty standard in this country of the blonde hair, blue-eyed woman. And typically that blonde-haired woman has long, straight locks. All of the famous supermodels, a lot of them have free-flowing locks in the wind, hair that just came down and could flow in the wind. And as Black women, we've had to learn to embrace the natural state in our hair, the coiliness in our hair, the thick texture in our hair that God has given us. And embracing our hair has gone through a lot of transitions through the years, because prior to the 1970s, where afros came into play, a lot of Black women straightened their hair. We put chemicals on our hair to chemically straighten it. And guys, those chemicals burned, okay? In the African American community, we call it getting a perm. You put that white stuff on your hair and your scalp, and it burns, honey. And it's so painful. And you can get scabs on your scalp just to get that straight hair that is coveted in larger society. And actually, a Black woman, she became famous for straightening and creating mechanics to straighten our hair. And she became a millionaire back in the early 1900s. But when the 1970s came about and we were moving into a new decade, into new American prosperity, we had just come out of the tumultuous 60s where we were fighting for civil rights, and we had that civil rights legislation. And in the 70s, which my parents claim is the best decade, I think the early 2000s is the best, but they think the 1970s. That's where you see those images of those big, beautiful afros, men and women literally wearing those afros and making it a crown around them. That's where you see a lot of people stop perming their hair and putting conchs in their hair to make it straight. But unfortunately, that did not last. Because as we went into the 1980s, the 1990s, the early 2000s, the standard of straightening the hair and or wearing weaves came back. And a lot of Black people, especially African American women, again began to straighten their hair, chemically straighten their hair, or wear weaves and wear wigs, which is a weave is where we will attach some other person's straight hair to our scalps and we literally weave it in. That became popular in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. But here recently, I would say the mid 2000s on, there has been a boom in people focused on embracing and learning to love our natural hair. And so many Black women now have embraced their natural texture. And so you will see styles like locks, and you'll see twist styles. You'll see braids, cornrows, wearing afros. There is a whole culture behind our hair, guys. I'm so trying to explain this to our non-Black rebels who may not be fully aware of the hair culture that dominates the Black community and how much time and money we truly spend on our hair and our hair care and our hair products. It is a $1 billion industry. The natural hair care industry is a $1 billion industry that is funded by our money and the devotion to our hair. And our hair is truly an extension of us. Our hair tells you who we are and how we feel about ourselves. The success that we feel on a daily basis, a lot of times is tied to our hair. A lot of people may think this is crazy. How you feel about the day or whether or not you be successful be tied to your hair. Trust me, it is. It truly is. And a lot of times, especially professional Black women and men, when we go into these professional places of business and employment, and there has been a culture that has taught that wearing a natural hairstyle like this is not seen as couth, is not seen as professional, is not seen as clean. A lot of times that has negatively affected us. And look, I kind of fell into that way of thinking, not by my parents, because, you know, as a child, I was not able to get my hair permed or straightened. I couldn't put any chemicals on my hair. So I was up there in my pigtails, my ponytails, my natural hairstyles. I rocked those. But like so many children and young teenagers, I wanted to fit in. So in college, let me tell you this, guys. In college, I dyed my hair myself. Big mistake. I didn't know what I was doing. Then the very next day put a relaxer on my hair to try to get it straight. Look, anyone who knows anything about hair dye and about relaxers, you know that you do not put all those chemicals on your hair at one time, because best believe my hair suffered for it. And I was looking a mess for a couple months. And that's because I didn't embrace myself, and I didn't embrace all of my Blackness, which included embracing my kinky, nappy hair. I have no issue with the term nappy. In fact, I embrace it. So after learning that, after suffering the disastrous results of putting all those chemicals on my hair, I decided from that point forward that I was not going to put another relaxer or perm on my hair. And to this day, 13 years later, I have not. So what I'm trying to get you all to see just how important our hair is to us, and how a lot of us have fallen into this mindset that in order to be seen as professional or to be taken seriously, we have to straighten our hair or wear straight hairstyles. So that's why I was so happy to see that the U.S. House of Representatives passed this Crown Act, again, which stands for creating a respectful and open world for natural hair. Look, we know that we're treated unfairly at work and in schools because of our natural hair textures and protective styles like braids, knots, twists, and locks. And what this legislation hopes to do is to make hair discrimination on the basis of race illegal and put it in the same class as just general discrimination on the basis of race. That is powerful, guys. That is absolutely powerful. And President Biden has said that he will sign this legislation into law if it passes the Senate and gets to his desk. In fact, this is a statement. He says he believes, quote, no person should be denied the ability to obtain a job, succeed in school or the workplace, secure housing, or otherwise exercise their rights based on a hair texture or hairstyle. That is powerful. This really started on the state level because California was the very first state to pass this Crown Act and prohibit race-based discrimination based on hair texture and hairstyle. And a lot of states then followed, and finally the federal government followed as well. So far, 14 states have enacted the Crown Act: California, Washington, Nevada, Colorado, Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. That is huge. Unfortunately, here in my state of Texas, legislation was filed to have a Texas law that prohibits discrimination on the basis of hair type and hair texture, but it failed to pass. So that's why we need this federal Crown Act to pass the Senate so we can end hair discrimination nationwide. A child should not feel discriminated against because he or she has their hair in locks. A career woman should not feel discriminated against or be treated unfairly just because she's wearing her hair in an afro. So these laws are important, but it's also important to change the culture, the way that we view our hair texture as well. We need to change that all the way around. We need to have a culture change, and we need to have a legal change as well. And they need to work together in order for young Black kids, boys and girls, to know that their natural hair texture is beautiful and that they should embrace themselves as well. And really, there's a whole movement, even outside of Congress, that was created by a team of Black women leaders who have been on the forefront and the front lines of this issue for many years. Essie Eggleston Bracey, Kelly Richardson Lawson, Oriana Nwoko Blanchard, Adjoa Asamoah, and so many other Black women have been on the forefront of this issue. So I'm going to keep my eyes out on what happens with this legislation as it goes to the Senate. I hope that it goes to the Senate this year, especially before the midterms. And I am hopeful that it will pass the Senate and that President Biden will be able to sign this act into law. So guys, I hope you all have enjoyed this video, and I've explained to you how important hair culture is in the Black community and the emphasis and the strength and the identity that we get from our hair. It is so important that we get this legislation passed. So I'll encourage all of you all to reach out to your local leaders, reach out to your senators, press on them to pass this legislation. This is just as important as other issues that are facing our nation now. So with that, guys, I'm going to let you go. We will be back here next week. My dad and I, we're going to be going live, giving you all the tea, honey, on all of the legal trends that have been trending for that week. We will be back Saturday, 2 p.m. Central. If you have any questions, any comments, please leave them down below. Don't forget to like this video, guys. It doesn't cost anything. Hit the like button. Show us that you're appreciating this content. And with that, I'm going to be out of here. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.